The concubines of the Ottoman Sultan were all young and beautiful. Every slave who got into the Sultan's harem could not be presented immediately to the master, since she had to undergo serious training to begin with. After the girl was ready, the Valide Sultan or the Chief Eunuch could send her to halvet to the Sultan. The main task of intimate meetings with the Padishah, in addition to satisfying sexual needs, of course, was the duty to give birth. In principle, it doesn't matter who, but shehzade is better. How, even at the stage of selecting concubines in the cassock harem, was the infertile girl determined or not? What did they do with those slaves who turned out to be infertile? Were they just kicked out of the palace into the street after a few years? Are there any cases in the Ottoman Empire when the Sultan, no matter what, kept such a woman for himself, and for what she was awarded such an honor? Do you remember the scene from the TV series The Magnificent Century? It's true. A potential harem resident should be beautiful. Beauty was defined as eyebrows, hair, eyes and eyelashes should be black, and the skin should be white. A girl's body should be strong and dense, but not thick. Fleshiness determined her fertility and good health. She shouldn't be Muslim. A slave with physical disabilities, stupid and aggressive, could not get into the harem of the Padishah. Here, in fact, there are only 5 basic rules and a young girl could claim to become a resident of the Sultan's harem. If a girl has never been to the Sultan's bed or has not given birth to his children, she usually had 2 roads. After 9 years of service in the harem, the girl will be married to the vizier and given a pretty good dowry. But, who needs a barren wife? We are talking about a Muslim society in which the birth of heirs is one of the main tasks. If no one married such a girl, then her fate was determined like this. Or she gets her freedom and can go back to where she came from. Or she goes to the old palace and waits for her death there, like most of the useless women living in it. As a rule, no one returned home, as they did not really want to change their life in an ornate palace, to the shack where the girl came from. Even if it promised her terrible loneliness. The history of the Ottoman Empire knows many cases when the concubine of the Ottoman harem, who did not give children to the Sultan, could and remained to live in the harem, no matter what. Yes, that there are concubines, there were such among the wives of the lords. The first Sultan I would like to mention in this vein is the 20th Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, Suleiman II. He ruled the country for 4 years, and before that he spent 40 years in prison. He had 6 wives, as stated in the book, Wives and Daughters of Sultans. And he was expecting children from them all the time. But, he did not wait, he died at the age of 49 from an illness. Also, the legendary Queen Tamara for the Bulgarian people. Not only did she not give birth to Sultan Murad I's children, but she did not even convert to Islam. However, this did not prevent her from living in the harem of the Padishah and leading a fairly active political life. Byzantine contemporaries wrote that the marriage of Tamara and Murad was political. Tamara made a self-sacrifice for the sake of her people, who composed many songs and legends about her, who remembers her. The date of the woman's death is unknown, but there are records that she lived as a pious Christian and died in peace. Murad II, known to us as the father of Mehmed the Conqueror, the same Fatih Sultan Mehmed, once married the daughter of the Serbian ruler George Branković. And this marriage, as you correctly assume, was preceded by certain political events. The Sultan's chosen one was called Mara Branković, and she was 21 years old at the time of her marriage. Mara was a Christian. She did not convert to Islam and did not bear children to the Padishah. However, this did not prevent her from living in the Sultan's harem, and even raising his son from another concubine who died. And after Murad's death, his son Fatih Mehmed allocated a pretty decent land to the woman. If we talk about the harem of Sultan Suleiman, which is closer to us in spirit. That's where, as we know, Gulfem Khatun lived quite happily. Although she was not infertile, she had no children. Because her son died at a very young age. According to all the rules, the woman had to leave Suleiman's harem, at least go to the old palace, but, for some merit, unknown to us until the end, Gulfem lived in Topkapi. There is a version that Suleiman did not cool down to the end to this concubine and spent time with her after the death of harem. So, as it seems, there was nothing terrible about the infertility of a slave, for herself. And if her, let's call it a, flaw, was not revealed at the stage of enrollment in the harem, then she could safely live in it or in the old palace. In any case, no one threw anyone cruelly into the sea. That's how we saw the story with you. And that's it for today. If you think the Ottoman history is interesting, subscribe to our channel, so as not to miss new stories. Kindness and mercy. Thanks for watching. Hi, Olivia.